They say nothing lasts forever, but in this case, it's not an object, a person, or a feeling that will eventually cease to exist. Instead, it's reality itself. Everything you have ever experienced, everything you have ever seen, heard, touched, smelled, or tasted might soon be no more. As the fabric of the universe begins to tear at its seams, our entire existence could soon be erased, and we would not even realize it until it was too late. You might think it sounds crazy, but there are disturbing signs that the simulation we live in is cracking. And the scariest part is that we won't know it until it's already happening. We are about to discuss some of the scariest glitches in the simulation that we have never noticed. Reality may not be as solid as you think. It may not even be real. If you've ever watched the movie Inception, you probably remember the carousel from the beginning of the film. In the movie, Dom Cobb uses a spinning top to determine whether or not he is still dreaming. If the top falls over, then he is still asleep. If it continues spinning without falling over, he is awake. Well, one thing you have to admit is that there are similarities between our lives and the world of the film. For example, isn't it possible that our reality is just a dream within a dream? We may think we are awake, but what if we are actually still dreaming? Maybe the world we live in is just a dream being experienced by someone else. It may sound insane, but it's not impossible. In fact, scientists have been debating for years whether or not we could be living in a computer simulation right now. It's called the simulation hypothesis, and it basically says that our reality is just a computer simulation created by a more advanced civilization. So here's the thing. This idea has been around for a long time. It's been explored in movies like The Matrix and video games like... But the truth is, it's not just a fun theory to think about. Scientists have actually done some pretty serious research on the subject. One study published in the journal Scientific American estimated that there is a 50% chance that we are living in a computer simulation. And another study published in the journal Nature magazine said that it is mathematically possible that we are living in a simulation. But the scary thing is that according to these scientists, there are some glitches in the matrix that indicate we are living in a simulation. In other words, there are things in our world that cannot be explained by science alone. It's almost like there are bugs in the system. The most common glitch people experience is time loops. They can be small or large, but they are always noticeable. For example, you may have had a dream about something that happened in your day, and when you wake up, you realize that it didn't happen at all. Or maybe you were driving home from work and suddenly found yourself back at the office without any memory of the drive. These are just small glitches in the matrix, but they do happen to all of us from time to time. However, there are also larger glitches that have been reported around the world. For example, in 2014, a man in China claimed that he had experienced a time loop that lasted for 80 minutes. He said that he had gone to the store, but when he came back home, his watch said that only 1 minute had passed. He checked his phone, and it said the same thing. Then he went outside and looked up at the clock tower. It said 1 o'clock. He had traveled back in time by 17 minutes. This is obviously very strange, but it's not the only time something like this has happened. In 2013, a woman in Brazil said she experienced a similar time loop. She was in her car, driving home from work when suddenly her car stopped working. When she finally got it started again, she realized that 20 minutes had disappeared. There are many other cases like this that have been reported all over the world. People have experienced missing time, strange coincidences, and unexplainable events that seem to defy logic. So here's the thing. If we are living in a simulation, these glitches are not surprising. The people who created the simulation may be making changes to the program without our knowledge, or there could be a bug in the system. Whatever the case may be, these glitches are a sign that the simulation is unstable and it could soon collapse. Let me explain. According to quantum physics, the world is in a constant state of flux. Nothing is certain. Everything is possible. This means that every moment of every day, the fabric of reality is being torn at its seams. However, we don't notice these tears because we are part of the simulation. We are just like the fish in the water, swimming around oblivious to the bigger picture. But sometimes these tears in reality become too much for us to ignore. We experience them as glitches in the simulation. Time loops, missing time, strange coincidences. All of these are signs that the simulation is unstable and it could soon collapse. When this happens, we will not be able to continue living in this simulation. It will be like a hard reset on a computer. Everything will go back to zero, and we will start over again. This is what happens in the movie Source Code. When the main character dies, he relives the last 8 minutes of someone else's life. He doesn't know why he's doing this at first, but later, he realizes that he is part of a military experiment. The military is trying to use him to prevent a terrorist attack. However, as the movie goes on, the main character begins to glitch out of the simulation. He starts to experience déjà vu and other strange phenomena. Eventually, he is pulled out of the simulation and wakes up in a hospital bed. This is basically what happens when the simulation crashes. We are pulled out of the simulation and placed in a new one. According to the scientists who believe we are living in a simulation, this is what happens when the simulation is broken. The programmers have to reboot the system. But here's where it gets really scary. What if someone is trying to break the simulation on purpose? What if someone doesn't want us to live in this world anymore? A lot of people have experienced weird glitches in the simulation that can't be explained by science alone. Some people say that their entire reality has changed in front of their eyes. Others claim that they have witnessed paranormal activity or time slips. And still, others insist that they have met people from the future or alternate universes. It may seem crazy, but these experiences are not uncommon. In fact, there are thousands of stories like this that have been shared online. People talk about how they saw a loved one die, and then they came back to life. They describe how they experienced déjà vu, and then something strange happened. They tell stories of how they met someone who knew things about them that they had never told anyone. All of these are glitches in the simulation. They are signs that the system is not working properly, and it could soon collapse. Imagine that you are walking down the street and suddenly everything around you begins to flicker. The buildings seem to be glitching in and out of existence. The people around you start to look like they're made of pixels. This is what it would look like if the simulation was crashing. It would be like the world you live in is suddenly turned into a video game. But what if it doesn't happen all at once? What if it happens gradually? What if you don't notice it until it's too late? This is what some people claim to have experienced. They say that over time, the world they live in has become more and more distorted. Things don't make sense anymore. People don't act like they used to. The world seems to be falling apart all around them. This is what it would be like if someone was intentionally trying to break the simulation. It would be like someone was tearing the fabric of reality apart, causing chaos and destruction everywhere they went. It may seem far-fetched, but this is not just a conspiracy theory. There are scientists who believe that this is actually possible. What if there's a group of people out there who know that we are living in a simulation and they want to change it? Maybe they want to change the rules of the game, or maybe they want to end it altogether. Who knows? But the truth is that anything is possible in a simulation. And if we are not careful, someone could end up changing everything. So here's the thing. There are some people out there who are studying these glitches in the simulation. They're trying to understand them and find a way to stop them before it's too late. Maybe they will succeed, and we will be able to continue living in this world. Or maybe the simulation will crash, and we will have to start over again in a new one. Only time will tell what happens next. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and comment below. What do you think? Are we living in a simulation? If so, do you think it will crash? If you want to learn more about the simulation hypothesis, check out my other videos on the subject. Thanks for watching.